Jesus came to the earth, we see here, for a very specific reason. He was on a life or death mission, a tale, really, of the most epic proportions. The mission and story of God in Jesus Christ, church, is where all stories, if they have any value, find their value. It is the original and everlasting story. You can safely, within orthodoxy, summarize the story of God revealed in the scriptures as one of God taking on flesh to slay the dragon, getting the girl, marrying her, and having endless children who increase the kingdom's glory and prestige, chiefly the glory and prestige of the king, and live happily ever after with endless adventure, peace, and prosperity. You can safely summarize the story of God with that. I say it all the time, but the only reason Disney is a multi-billion-dollar industry and literature is found with these central narratives that I just went over. Throughout all of human history, and will always be, I am sure, is not because this simple narrative I just put forward is merely a fairy tale, quite the opposite. Everyone beholds the central narrative, that central narrative that I just put forward, of the guy coming and getting the girl, slaying the dragon, marrying her, beholding kids, and living happily ever after in the kingdom. Everyone holds to that narrative, has a hope down in their bones towards that narrative. It pricks and pries something in us that other stories do not. It's inherent to us, not because it's merely a myth, but that is actually terrible logic. Rather, stories with this narrative grab us because they have aspects of the one and true story that God has authored and fulfilled in himself. This is also why Disney, increasingly so, and other storytellers have manipulated the story and increasingly do this. Why? Because the devil, the father of lies, loves to change this narrative, to pry it apart, to deteriorate it any way. He hates that it pricks our conscience, that it appeals to everyone, even tribes and people you don't even share a language with. If you can get a similar story to them, I bet in their ancient myths that they actually hold to, they have similar stories. And he hates this. And so he aims to change it, often in subtle ways, and more recently in not so subtle ways. It may seem, these changes, superficial and harmless, and sometimes it is, but often it is not. Often these changes are a vile attack on the fundamental story that God has told and fulfilled in his eternal Son, becoming man, slaying the dragon to save a captive woman, who he then takes as his wife forevermore, and they live as king and queen of all the earth, of all the cosmos, and all the possible earths throughout them.